I know Jim's been waiting. So, Jim, you're back. So, give us your MVP for the 2024 season.
I spoke very highly of the Detroit Lions, Dan Campbell, what they did last year. Jared Goff has played very well. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's almost got to one last year. We're not, he's been playing very great. His confidence level since going to Detroit and the support that he's got there, he's a different player, and he's very, very good at what he does. They have good balance on offense. I like Jared Goff to be the most valuable player and take him to the Super Bowl.
Awesome. Jared Goff. Wouldn't that be a nice story? It's already a nice story. All right. Jared Goff is your pick, Jim. Vic, who do you have for MVP?
Well, we know it's going to be a quarterback, right? There's only been 4 non-quarterback winners dating all the way back to 2000. And those 4, Marshall Faulk, Sean Alexander, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Adrian Peterson, were running backs who won it more than a decade ago. So, don't bet on non-quarterbacks in this category unless, like, you enjoy setting money on fire. So there you go. My top of the board best bet is a guy I talked about a couple of weeks ago when we were previewing the AFC East division, and that's going to be Josh Allen, currently plus 850. He's slightly ahead of Joe Burrows at plus 9-1 odds. 5th place last year, and Josh Allen got the only non-Lamar Jackson first place vote. In 2022, Josh Allen finished 3rd in the voting and got one of only 2 non-Mahomes votes. Clearly, the MVP voters are willing to reward Allen if he plays at a high level, and B, if he wins his respective division in the process. Josh Allen.
All right, there you go. By the way, Myles Garrett, I know how high you guys are on him as Defensive Player of the Year, just to show you this. Can you believe he's 200-1?
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, he wins Defensive Player of the Year. He could win it again this year, like you guys predicted, and yet 200-1 to win MVP.
It's like Lawrence Taylor for the Giants being 200-1.
Yeah.
The same.
It's almost like you have to bet $25 or $50 on it just for the hell of it.
Yeah, right. I mean, the same thing with Christian McCaffrey, who, if any running back is going to win it again, you would think McCaffrey would be the guy at 40-1, but he didn't win it last year. So, and they had already given the award to Jackson. So if you would have thought that would have been the perfect year to give it to McCaffrey, and they still didn't do it. Okay, next up, Tony.
I'm going to be the NFL future Scrooge here. My MVP pick is Lamar Jackson again, coming off of a 13-3 year where he was the NFL MVP at plus 1,800. He's got better odds than or higher odds, a better payout than C.J. Stroud, who'd be on my list, Jordan Love, who'd be on my list, because at that point, if those 2 guys take their teams to even higher levels than they did last year, they'll certainly be in the conversation. But I expect Zay Flowers to be better. I expect the Ravens to continue to throw the ball. I certainly don't think that Lamar Jackson, having figured some things out in the passing game, will regress just yet. So given plus 1,800 and winning the toughest division in football, or arguably, I will say Lamar is definitely worthy. And I mean, to have Aaron Rodgers at plus 1,600 ahead of the reigning MVP, to me is funny, but that is my call on that.
Yeah, I would have to think that Lamar is not the favorite because he's got 2 already. I'd have to think, otherwise he'd probably be up there at 5-1 or something. So, but you're getting good value.
He should be in Mahomes territory, and Mahomes is in Mahomes territory. You know what I'm saying? So from that standpoint, at plus 1,800, I think it's worth it. It checks both boxes, both the value and the fact that performance-wise, he can get there.
All right. Next up is Mark. Mark?
Well, I got to admit this, guys. I hate to admit this, but I did what Victor said not to do last year, and I burned a pile of money when I bet Christian McCaffrey to win the MVP last year. And I really, truly thought going down the stretch It was going to be one of those rare running backs that was going to steal an award like that, but it didn't work out. It didn't happen. You won't find me doing that again. Instead, I'm going to go to Joe Burrow, who, as I mentioned before, he has a sight set as high as anybody I've ever seen as far as wanting to come back from an injury to do just that. I have the Browns and the Bengals battling toe to toe right down to the wire in the AFC North. And if it ends up being just that way, I think Joe Burrow will win a lot of votes. I have Joe Burrow for my MVP.
All right, there you go. Yeah, if he stays healthy, he's going to have a monster season. So that is a very understandable pick for Joe Burrow. Let's just hope his offensive line can keep him healthy. And I'm going to wrap it up with there's a few guys that I was considering that have been taken, but I'm going to go ahead and I'll tell you what. See, I'm not going to take Justin Herbert only because I took Harbaugh, so I don't want to go all in. But I will say that I think Herbert's good value. So if you're somebody who doesn't believe in taking Harbaugh because his number's too low, then I'd say go ahead and take Herbert because he's 30-1 based on the Chargers having a really good year. But I'm going to go ahead though and come down to your guys' level of not going too crazy here and take Love at 14-1. He had such a great second half of the season. I see no reason why that won't continue. The receivers there are just awesome. He's got the best group of young receivers in football. I just see that they're going to be better. I know Mark believes that they're going to come down a little bit, but if they don't, and this is the next step, then that means that Jordan Love is going to be a big part of that. So I'll take him at 14-1.